Was gonna put this out earlier today. Decided not to. Oh, let's go up. Let's go way up. There we go. I was gonna put this up earlier today, but I decided not to. There you go. I got my Genesis. I can't go up any higher. That's kind of a bummer. Anyway, final Genesis show last night. I just want to go over some of the set list. And it's kind of a sad moment when Phil Collins announced last night. A lot of people knew this was going to happen, that it was the final show in London, that he said, this is it, the final show for Genesis. And there was mixed reaction from the crowd, as you can imagine, because it's the end of the end of an era, like a fantastical era. And when I was looking at the set list, what they chose for last night, and the albums that were represented, let me just bring them up here. Of course, the most critically acclaimed Genesis album, and you can argue about this, is really Selling England by the Pound. Where is this beauty? Da 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 da. It's not even a song from the album. And the another album that was We Can't Dance. Invisible Touch. And a few others, but it's interesting what they chose. Like the show started with something from Duke, a couple of songs from Duke. Behind the Lines, where is Duke? I'll get to the comments in a second. Thanks, guys. Behind the Lines, Turn It On Again. Then it went into Mama from the self-titled album in '83. They played a lot of music from that era. Land of Confusion from Invisible Touch. Remember the spitting image video of that, the single version of it was a takeoff of a Beatles album. Home by the Sea from, again, the self-titled Genesis album in '83. The second, Home by the Sea, from the same album. Fading Lights, We Can't Dance. And then we had The Cinema Show from Selling England by the Pound, Afterglow. The last song on Wind and Wuthering. Where's Wind and Wuthering? Great album. There's two albums that I really love by Genesis. Before they got into Duke, the introductions to Phil as the lead singer. And a lot of fans were not disappointed. A lot of fans had a problem with Duke because they say it was the start of the end of the prog version of Genesis getting into Duke and Abacab, and then all things were kind of lost at that point. Then they went into an acoustic set with That's All from '83 from the self-titled album. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Oh, I didn't bring it. I've got it. The last one with Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel was at the show, and he was introduced during the show. His actress daughter, Lily Collins was there, and she took pictures with not the road crew, but like some of the boxes that said Genesis. Then they went into Follow You, Follow Me. The beginning of the singles era of I could see this is my radio station over there that you see the reflection of it. That's the radio station show that I do every night. Duchess, another one from Duke, 1980. No Son of Mine from We Can't Dance. First the Fifth from Selling England by the Pound. Another one which I loved, I Know What I Like, from Selling England by the Pound. Where's Selling England? There it is again. Oh, my God. That's a great album. You see my flashing lights there? Then they did Domino from Invisible Touch from '86. Throwing It All Away from Invisible Touch again. Tonight, Tonight, Tonight from Invisible Touch. And the title song to Invisible Touch. So that album was heavily represented. I Can't Dance from We Can't Dance was part of the encore. Dancing with the Moonlit Night from Selling England by the Pound, and The Carpet Crawlers from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. It's actually the last song on that album. But I got emotional a little bit. And then how many people we have on here? Okay, I'm just going to play you this. It's from someone else's YouTube channel. Hope I don't get dinged by this. Hold on. Let me just make sure the volume's up. This is basically Phil Collins. Let me put it up for you. I don't usually do this. We're working with Ecamm software, which is if any of you remember, please like our video, by the way. We're working with Ecamm software where we'll be able to put a clip up and it'll basically cover me up. And I found it very complicated when we were working with Ecamm before, but not so complicated now. It's a lot easier now. So can we listen to this? Okay, boing, boing, boing. How do I do this?
And it's the last show for Genesis.
That's kind of sad, huh?
Yes, it's difficult for us, but you still came out to see it.
A little piece of what happened last night. A melancholy kind of moment where I'm looking at, I was looking at, interesting, this wasn't represented last night. Trigger the Tail. And Abacab. I don't think they played anything from, did I notice that? Did they have played anything from Abacab? Hold on a second. I know I love Abacab. It gets a bad rap, but I love that album. So from Selling England by the Pound, let's look at that. And it shows you, they know where their fans are at. Selling England by the Pound, arguably their most highly touted album, the second last one with Peter Gabriel. They played The Cinnamon Show, Firth the Fifth, I Know What I Like, and Dancing with the Moonlit Night. From Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, they played two, the title song and the Carpet Crawlers. Wind and Wuthering, they played one song, Afterglow. That's the last song. Yeah, that's the last song on that album. It wasn't when I talked about the Lamb Lies Down a while ago. Follow You, Follow Me. They played one song. That's it, the single from it. And then Duke. They played three from Duke. Still one of my all-time favorites. It was the first time I saw Genesis in 1980. The first North American stint of that started in Edmonton. I talked to Daryl Sturmer multiple times about this. Behind the Lines, Duke's End, Turn It On Again, and Duchess. From the self-titled Genesis album, I hated Mama, by the way. I just hate that song. They played Mama, Home by the Sea, the second Home by the Sea, That's All. And their biggest U.S. album, really, because it went, I think, 6 times platinum. Da-da-da-doo. Invisible Touch, they played Land of Confusion, Domino. Phil addressed Peter Gabriel after that because he was in the audience. Throwing It All Away, Tonight, 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 and the title song. And the real biggest seller overall, not their biggest seller in the U.S., but all around the world was We Can't Dance, Fading Lights, No Son of Mine, I Can't Dance. And I was going to say something else, but I just find it's sort of hard to be able to come on here and talk about the last show. When I heard the words from Phil's mouth, and I was working on a thing on Taylor Hawkins. The fact, that people, they found 10 different little ingredients in his body. And I thought, well, until they get final toxicology, I don't think I'm going to report on that. Because he has goodwill and there's so many good things coming from him and how he contributed, make a difference. Addiction is a serious thing. And I didn't want to be one of those guys that wanted to get clickbait based on the fact that he died that way, which is sad. So I thought, well, no, I'll start working on the Genesis show, because I'm such a huge Genesis fan. I'm glad they played the Carpet Crawlers. Love the song. But I want to get to some of your comments as well. So let me sort of turn down the volume and see how you feel about it. The general consensus was most people were happy that Phil, even if he was in a chair and his vocals weren't the way they used to, they weren't at that level. The general consensus I saw on this channel from you was you're still glad that they went out there and did that. Tip of the hat. I mean, listen, they released the album, and then all of a sudden they have to go with Ray Wilson because Phil wanted to leave and do his own thing. So there you go. I'm a little melancholy tonight. Little melancholy about Genesis. I have no idea why it put that thing on there. That's so strange. It put my rock history music thing on here. So let's get into it. See what you think. I haven't read one comment yet. And it's Oscar night, isn't it? What the hell am I doing this for? What? Nah, I'm just joking. I don't usually watch the Oscars. I find watching the red carpet, for instance, so like, give me a freaking break. And Shannon loves watching that. You know, she watches it. But there's a part of me of going, what are you wearing? Like, I don't care what you're wearing. Glenn Warner, Monsters in the House. Hello again from Baton Rouge. The Music Critic, hello, John. A good friend of mine is going to rank the Genesis discography tonight. I ranked it already. Based on fan votes, I should put that. Look, go into Rock History Book. If you put Rock History Book, this is Rock History Music. Rock History Book Top Genesis. You'll find the top Genesis songs based on votes that we had and top Genesis albums. And we did a damn good job. We worked really hard on that. Too bad Peter didn't join in. I think Peter didn't join in because he didn't want it to be about him. The headlines would have been, oh, Peter Gabriel joins them on stage. And it stopped being about Peter Gabriel a long time ago, even though they played 2 from Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and they played 4, if I remember correctly, from Selling England by the Pound. The Ravens Effect. They've come full circle from Genesis to Revelations indeed. Yeah, no kidding. I never liked that first album. Sherry C. Would have loved to have been there. Same here. You know, I've said that stuff about Genesis, but then I had to cut to the chase and say, you know, push comes to shove, I would have been there. Oh God, why are my comments like this? This is hard to read. Hold on. My son would roll his eyes at me right now. Oh, Dad. Okay, going back to the comments. Oh, lots of comments. Thank you for everyone who joined us. And by the way, like our video. It's been a weird weekend. Before I read your comments a little bit more, you know, with Taylor passing away and, you know, the gossip magazines going nuts on the fact that they may have found 10 ingredients of, I can't even say the word, or I'll get demonetized, in his body, which is really fast, we live in a sensational world, and that's what people want. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, but I was going to do a video on it, and I went, I'm not going to put that in the title. I'm not going to do that to him. Again, there's such goodwill towards him. He was such a nice guy. He just had a problem. And it was serious, obviously, because it killed him. So there you go. I'm just getting to the question. Tony Walker. So weird to think about some of our musical heroes saying goodbye. You know what? I felt the same way. I found it was surreal for me today. Trick of the Tail, Sherry C. Music Critic. I don't see this being a final show in 3 years. They'll probably say, oh, let's do it again. And they may. I don't think they will. I don't think they will. No. BB Dodge. Awesome. Rock child of the 60s. Last show before retirement. Last show, they say. Ambika Wolf. Phil Collins will never perform live again. I have a feeling. He's dealing with some stuff. You could tell. He was not of good health. So there may be something... Oh, I hate doing this. There's been rumors in the last little while, and people always start these rumors, whether they're true or not, that he's doing this because he's ill. That doesn't mean anything. People start those rumors every time someone's doing one of these things or they look sick on stage, right? So there's been rumors that he's not long for this earth. No one knows that, right? The Music Critic. And even then, and then were 3, and then there were 3, not a prog album. So I don't see Duke hatred is about. There's a lot of Duke hatred. And then there were 3 I thought was a very prog album. I thought Genesis Duke was prog album. Oh no, she can't do that. Is she vacuuming? Hold on. She can't possibly be vacuuming. My wife's vacuuming while I'm doing a live feed. Oh, no. Pulsar Lights. Phil Collins is in bad shape now. Yeah, from years of drumming and other things, right? I mean, he was staying home drinking and being on the couch for a lot of years, and that's a tough thing to do. Chris says, I love In Too Deep. Hold On to My Heart. Yeah, those are very poppy versions of it, but I did too. Rock Child of the 60s. How's it going? Phil Collins has some serious bad back and neck issues. Very true. By the way, like our video, please. Don Bard. I think it's Bard. There's a photo of Peter and Phil and an early manager, Richard. Yeah, let me see if I've got that here. Let me see if I've got it for you. Hold on. Where's my photos? Oh, I'm so freaking old, man. I go on this and go, where's my photos? Okay, first of all, we're going to show you the three guys. That was supposed to be the heading. Three guys. That's last night. Hold on. There's the manager's not there, but there's Phil and Peter from last night. And there's Lily. There's Lily from last night's. Beautiful young lady she is. Great actress. I'm not that Emily in Paris thing. I'm not so sure I like that, but well, I can't watch a show like that. It's not really geared at a guy like me, right? So the fact that a 62-year-old man doesn't like Emily in Paris is no great revelation. I do to Lily Collins, I'm sure. Okay. Hold on. Let me just look at something. Okay. Rothschilds, did Genesis retire for good? I think this is it this time. The music critic says, I think Collins wanted to sing music from Invisible Touch and We Can't Dance because they're basically solo Collins albums. Well, they're two biggest albums that they ever sold. And then they left. And then Phil left, right? You think, wow, they're on top of their game as far as pop music, not with the creative side of it, but they were there to make money. So Dean says there will be a CD, DVD, The Last Domino, probably. I don't know if I'll even watch it. I don't know. John Hutchinson, it's Omnipotent John Bowden. What the heck? Tarkus 75, I think. 75, I think he said. The music critic. You can't say the name of their last album or something will happen to you. Oh, that's funny. Rock Child of the 60s. Oh my God, no. Pulsar. Mid-70s sound about right. Alfred Mosley. I love Genesis, one of my favorite bands. Thank you. Rockchild says, they didn't even come to America. Yeah, we were hoping it would happen, but after a while you started seeing, it's probably not going to be able to happen. They don't have the legs for that. Rockchild says, mine too, Alfred. You guys are talking about Abacab 72. Yes, they did. I saw them in Chicago last November. Oh yeah, that's right, of course. Adam, we were hoping they'd do another circle back. Rockchild. I love every song Genesis ever sang, except Mama. I hate that song. God, I hate that song. John says, I miss listening to Abacab back in the day. Oh, I love Abacab. I love the song Abacab. I just love that song. But ding. I can't even see this. This is... Oh, me and Sarah Jane. Oh, I didn't like No Reply at all. It was a hit, big hit. But I didn't like that. I didn't hate it. Like, I really hated Mama from the self-titled album. We've got some more comments. 114 people. Thank you for hanging out with us. By the way, please subscribe to our channel. We're just a little channel at 90,000 subscribers who would like to get to 100,000 subscribers. You know what? That would make us very happy. And you know what? I'm like Hulk. You want to make me happy? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Pumpkin King shirt. Don Baird. Well, I'm wearing a t-shirt. Ding, 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 ding. There you go, Invisible Touch. The album I don't really like that much. It's the only Genesis t-shirt I have. I used to have the Duke t-shirt, but then it just was bad quality. It was not an official t-shirt. I did get the official t-shirt at the concert, but that's long gone. It's like 1980, right? Dean says Phil is done. Maybe a little past done. Yep, agreed. John says, Dean, I agree, drumming is a hard job. I know, I'm a drummer. My son's a drummer. Chris says, I didn't like Mama. That's why about it. A creepy laugh. The creepy laugh. I hated that. It just made me feel uncomfortable. There's other parts of it. The ominous sort of musicality of it was kind of good. Dun, 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 dun. You know, Phil's drumming was amazing. Sherry C. I seen them in '84 and then released a self-titled album here in Idaho. The Zippo 42. Good username. It's bad they didn't invite Peter Gabriel on for one song. He didn't probably want to come on because he didn't want to make it about him. All the headlines would have said Peter Gabriel joins them. It would have been nice if they all got together. If they had Steve Hackett get on there and Peter Gabriel, it would have been great if that happened because that's the all-star lineup, right? That's the ultimate lineup. But I'm due to talk to Steve Hackett again, maybe in about a month and a half, and I'll ask if he was asked to come on. But maybe it didn't happen. It'll come out. Trust me, we'll find out. Not only me, but the world will find out. Tony Walker. When I saw them, I thought Phil sounded better than I expected. Okay, Dean, drummers are usually fit. Carl Palmer seems to be in great shape. Carl Palmer's in crazy good shape. It's nuts. I asked him how he can drum at that level when I talked to him a few months ago. And he says, well, I don't take substances and I keep myself in good shape and I have a great diet. And I'm going, yeah, a lot of people have that. They have a hard time getting up from their chair. But he obviously exercises. If you watch anything new from Carl Palmer and you see, Neil Peart was sick when he was on stage with Rush, and he was doing an amazing job. So overall, he's the king when you look at that. And I don't know, I'm not sure what's going on with Carl Palmer, but Carl's like standing up straight, great posture, drums like he's 20 years old. It's amazing. It's crazy. If you watch anything now, you go, how could that be now? Kooky. Okay. Let me see if I got some comments. I might have missed a few. I'm sorry. I'm a huge Bala Images. I'm a huge Genesis fan too. I also of Peter Gabriel. But what about Mike Rutherford? Is there a chance that Mike and the Mechanics might reunite? They're still going. They've been going for years. But Paul Young's dead, one of the singers that sang the hits, and Paul Carrick will never come back. He told me personally he doesn't want to come back to Mike and the Mechanics. He's finished with that. He's touring with Eric Clapton these days. So yeah, not Paul Young. Every time you go away, there was two Paul Youngs. This Paul Young that was with Mike and the Mechanics was with a band called Sad Cafe, and he was a great singer. Trenton played Follow Me, Follow You on the Cook, and I first date together. Oh, okay, 35 years ago. There you go. Dean says, actors, they live for celebrations of themselves. Show big kids. The Music Critic, I watched your Genesis ranking video about a year ago, and at first I was very mad. I didn't mention, it wasn't my vote. I'm still mad about Nursery Crime and Foxtrot being so low. But I think, you have to understand, I didn't pick those. I at that point, I would do it now. I would easily rank my Genesis videos, not now. But a lot of people wouldn't agree with me because Duke would be right up there. Duke and Selling England by the Pound are my two favorite Genesis albums. And a lot of people say, sacrilegious, how can you mention Duke? I don't know, I like it. I can't help it. So don't get mad at me for that list. Remember, look up Rock History Book, Top Genesis, and you'll get the top Genesis albums based on, this is Prog fans that voted for this, by the way. We went on Facebook. We didn't go in classic rock sites. We went into Prog Facebook groups. We went into Genesis Facebook groups, and we asked, what are your favorites? So this is a Prog perspective on what people thought was the best from Genesis. So we, the Invisible Touch didn't do that well. Oops, sorry. I hate hitting the microphone. I'm a broadcaster. I don't do that. So don't get mad at me. I didn't rank those. It had nothing to do with that in Music Critic. Hike with Mike was their final song. Their final song was the Carpet Crawlers. That's the last song they played. The encore was I Can't Dance from We Can't Dance. Dancing with the Moonlit Night from Selling England by the Pound, 73. Carpet Crawlers from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway from 74. Interestingly, two of the three were sung originally by Peter Gabriel. That could have been a tip of the hat to Peter. I'm not sure where they were playing before that for the tour, and the set list was probably a little different from the final show. I don't know. Some of you guys might know that. I am the only person that has liked your video. No, we've got 76 likes. But thank you if you did. Wood Rail King? Oh, Wood Rail King. Duh, sorry. How is their last concert? They still have 108 concerts scheduled. They're done. They're finished. Dwayne says Phil Collins does have bad health. Pulsar, who did their final tour in '82? Oh, well, they never went away in '82. The Music Critic, I know what you mean, but I love this channel. I think it's awesome. Thank you very much. The other channel, by the way, for people who are confused, the other channel was always going to be a long-standing, all the long videos were going to go on the other channel. And then one day I realized I was half asleep, half awake, and I went, well, these live feeds are kind of long. These are kind of long videos. So I should have combined them, and I might still combine them, because the other channel I think has 12,000 subscribers. This one has 90,000. It'll be at 91 probably in about a week. I don't know. I probably didn't know what the heck I was doing back then. Hike with Mike. I remember when Phil Collins flew from London to Philadelphia. Oh, for the Live Aid concerts. Yeah. Speak English with this guy. We can't hear it. The mic isn't picking it up. Well, sorry, guys. I didn't realize it wasn't picking it up, but it was just Phil basically saying it's the last Genesis concert. That's all I was playing it for. So, hate to paraphrase for you, but... Oh, KJ says, wife vacuuming, real life like, yeah, I know, she stopped. Because we've got an internal vacuum here, and we did in our last house too, and the house before that. And when someone vacuums, because the room where the vacuum suction thingamajiggy is just like 2 doors down. Because I'm in the basement. This is we've got a nice walkout basement in this house. It's really, really pretty. We're on a hill, hence the walkout basement. And it's a great spot to work, but when our daughter, who's autistic, has bad days, but once a week she has a bad day, and she'll be running around the house. She's 23, she's very pretty, she's a very nice girl, she's very compliant, she knows what she wants, she doesn't only eat white food anymore. We've gone a long way with her. She's just a joy, but once a week she'll have a bad day. And if I'm doing an interview, I think, when I was interviewing Randy Bachman a little while ago, and when I interviewed Carl Palmer of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, she was just having a crazy time up there. She was having a tough day, and it's hard for us to understand her. So I do stuff in here so that we don't hear. But when the vacuum's on, right over there. Anyway, Pressy. Hey, John, how you doing? I accidentally hit this like, but hit like afterwards. Then it disqualifies it. Yeah, thank you. So we've got 113 people watching, 88 likes. Thank you. Appreciate that. Your daughter is a little sweetie. I see that, rock child of the 60s. Thank you. We've decided not to put her on camera anymore. I just thought, there's so many people putting their special needs kids on camera. She's 23, but she might as well be 5 years old because she doesn't have the intellect of an older child. She'll always be at that age. And we've just decided we just don't want to put her on camera anymore because it's just not fair to her. She can't choose that. Right? She just says hi. She just waves and says hi. But I hope you understand. We've just decided as parents of an autistic kid. No, the vacuum, she turned it off right away. I think she realized. John says, Hutchinson says, hi, John, this is a very cool feed. Thanks for doing it. Just crossed paths with an old friend from high school here. Oh my God, really? Dean's your old friend? That is so cool. I love that. Sherry C. Yeah, I remember those live aids with Phil jumped on the Concorde. Yep. Mauricio. taking it taking it all too hard. It's a line in the sand. You know, the Armando Gallo book, that the big thick hardcover, I've got that, and it's autographed by Phil Collins and someone else. I can't tell who else autographed it. I can't make it out. I think it's Mike Rutherford. But I bought that from a record store for way too much money. I think $100 or something like that. But that was a lot for me in the 80s. And Armando Gallo put up, and he's been the photographer, and he's interviewed Genesis multiple times. That's like one of the quintessential Genesis books to have. And it's nice that it's autographed. But I've got, I think, Phil Collins autographed here, Mike Rutherford. I've got the Peter Gabriel a Melt album autographed by Peter and the entire band. Who else do? Mike Rutherford autographed Abacab. Yeah. So let's see. Bella Images. I'm a huge Genesis fan too. Also Peter Gabriel. Oh, I already saw that. Sorry. James says, Nicholas is a fine drummer, but if this is a last, they should have had Chester Thompson. There's bad blood between them as far as I know. There was not, something happened. Rockchild says, I think every song Collins sang became a #1 hit. They didn't, but it was a good run for them. Let me just check out. Let us go in, shall we? That's why I have such good light. I have the computer here. They certainly weren't all #1. I can tell you that right now. It says Genesis rock band in, I guess you could say that. Well, they were a rock pop prog band because there were a lot of stuff they did. Okay, hold on. Their first album from Genesis to Revelation did not chart anywhere in 1969. Their follow-up in 1970 with Anthony Phillips on guitar, that reached number 98 in the UK. Of course, these albums have since sold a lot more because there's a back catalog that sells, right? In 1971, Nursery Crime reached number 39 on the UK charts. Foxtrot, which is considered one of their best albums, in 72 reached number 12. Things changed with that crowning achievement of ta-da, Selling England by the Pound. That one reached number 3 and number 70 in the US. Then The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway reached number 10 and 41 in the US. So that was even higher in the US. Then Peter Gabriel left. A Trick of the Tail was released, and that was their biggest album then because it charted in a lot of different countries. Because before we were basically talking about like Switzerland and England or the UK. Trick of the Tail reached number 3 in England, and then in different countries, 93, 43, 7, 17, 8, and 31. So to give you a chance. And then Wind and Wuthering, which I agree, I don't think was as strong of an album, but pretty close, reached number 7 in the UK. And then there were 3, changed everything because they had number 3 hit. They were back at number 3 in the UK. Duke was number 1, number 11 in the US. Abacab was number 1, number 7 in the US. I do believe I'm reaching US charts. The self-titled Genesis album really charted in more countries at that point in 1983 than any other Genesis album ever did. It reached number 1 in the UK. It reached number 9 in the US, but it was number 1 in a few other countries. Invisible Touch did even better. Number 1 in the UK, number 3 in the US. We Can't Dance, number 1 in the UK, number 4 in the US. And Calling All Stations was when things changed, of course, with Ray Wilson, the new lead singer. It still reached number 2, but it only went gold. As when you look at We Can't Dance was going 5 times platinum in the US. Invisible Touch went 6 times platinum in the US. You asked about the singles. So let's look at that. Let's look at the singles, and the hits get bigger as the numbers get smaller. It's interesting. I know what I like from Selling England was it reached number 21 on the UK charts. You know, the UK charts have always been a little bit more open-minded than obviously the American charts. I remember in 1980 going into their chart and wanting to buy a lot of stuff that was on their chart. Some of this stuff I really didn't like. I went, what the heck? This is a hit? So let's look at the hits. Their first hit was I Know What I Like in the UK. Pigeons, believe it or not, was a hit from, Spot the Pigeon. I can't believe that song was a hit. because that I didn't like that at all. Follow You, Follow Me was their first big North American hit. It reached number 22. What else do we got? Turn It On Again was a number 8 hit for Genesis. And in the U.S., it just kind of bubbled over. What other hit? Abacab was a number 9 hit in the U.K. Let me see. U.S. Hot 100. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Misunderstanding was number 14 in the U.S. I'll stick with the U.S. charts. Abacab was number 26. No Reply at All, number 29. See, you're not talking a lot of number 1 hits here. Paper Late from Three Sides Live was number 32. That's All was number 6. And here's the big ones. Invisible Touch, number 1. Throwing It All Away, number 4. We've got In Too Deep, number 3. See? Land of Confusion, number 4. And Tonight, number 3. And we just have a few more here. I don't want to bore you to death. No Son of Mine was number 12. I didn't realize it went that high. I Can't Dance, 7. Hold On My Heart, number 12. Jesus, He Knows Me was a number 23 hit. And their last was Never a Time. And that was the last, that was it for Genesis. You asked, so I thought I'd indulge you a little bit with that. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, you love the song Mama, Rockchild? Yeah, I wince when I hear it. The instrumental parts I just love. I hate when he goes, ha ha, ha ha. Dean says, none of the shows were recorded. Okay, I'm glad they didn't record them. I just hate it. I know, Tony, you hate a song, you like it. I just didn't like it. I remember on concert, when he uses a flashlight, and I remember thinking, I saw that tour. I hate that song. I just hate it. Every member of Genesis is an accomplished musician. Very true. And of course, we think of Peter and Phil, but think about Mike Rutherford, an underrated guitarist. He was very underrated guitarist. Chris says, I do every song Phil did and solo to the song. I don't, it's Mama. I don't know what you're trying to say there. Sorry, nothing personal. Tony, love your post. John, thanks for all the great videos. Thank you. We're starting to do a few more live videos, which is something we like to do. Taking it all too hard. Yeah, he says that. Okay, I have to turn this on so the comments come up. What time is it here? It's 7:55 Atlantic. We're in Atlantic time. That's what time it is. Peter Gabriel was in the house. Yes, he was. And we showed you the picture of them a while ago. Okay, I can show you again. I know we've got a lot of new people on here. We've got 131 people watching. Someone asked me the other day, do you ever get nervous doing these videos? And I had to say, I've been in radio 39 years. It takes a little bit more than that to make me nervous, but I do get nervous sometimes. There's from last night. And what the hell am I singing again? There's me and Shannon today. We're just in the car, just hanging out. And then there's Peter backstage with, sorry about the lights. Peter and Phil. There you go. Can you see it there? Yeah. And then there's Lily backstage announcing it. Oh, the lights. Dad. There. Beautiful girl. She's wearing these big boots. Very beautiful young lady. A talented actress. Even though that show of hers in Paris, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Congo by Ray Wilson. Well, they were never going to play that. Never, ever going to play that. Ronnie says, I always thought that Genesis should have made a new album. And a lot of people did because it would have sounded great. And who's to say they don't have good songs left in them? I'm sure they do. I would like to see that still happen. But, you don't want to do the, it turns into an anticlimactic thing when you say you're going to leave. The Who did it, of course. Oh, thank you, Abacab 72. Just want to say happy birthday to Genesis keyboardist Tony Banks today. He's 72. Oh, I have to find your comment here. He's 72, and he's one of my favorite keyboardist composers. He is mine too. I hope he does something after this. I think he will. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. All our money that we ever raise on our live feeds always goes straight to advertising because we're advertising. You might have seen it come up, our trailer, to get people who otherwise wouldn't go into our videos or even know about our video channel to check us out. All call. Oh, well, that's interesting. When I used to get a call before, it would unhook my live feed. Did you guys hear that ringing? You must have heard it. I heard it, so you would have heard it, yeah. So we get a lot of how many prank calls do you get? How many like spammy calls do you get like in a day? Can we go off topic for a second? I'm just kind of curious. For me, I get only 2 per week, but I'm in Canada in Eastern Canada, but I've got an Alberta number because I used to live in Alberta in Calgary. So I only get like maybe 1, 2 a week. Please let me know. I'm just kind of curious. And if there's 6 or 7, the Music Critic, in a week. 6 a day, Rockchild the 60s? Really? Tony says, I get almost 1 spam call a day. On my live videos? Wow. Dean says, went silent for a second. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what happened then. It muted, it didn't ring. Oh, okay. Pulsar says 5 a week. I'm just kind of curious. I've never really asked anybody. Ben Patterson says, I get anywhere from 3 to 8 spam calls per day. Wow. Dyslexic. Oh, that's funny. I usually get at least 1 a day. Annoying. This is interesting for me because I didn't know. I'm just going off topic for a second for the Genesis thing. In a day sometimes, yeah. JT Shark. Hey, JT. 5, but I am in the UK. Wow. Rockchild says, started right after I bought my new car. Ronnie says, my sister is in New Brunswick. Ronnie, where is she in New Brunswick? I'm in Moncton. I'm from Miramichi, Northeast New Brunswick, but again, we don't want to go off topic too much here. But they were price gouging in my own hometown in Miramichi. They were price gouging in this small city and more than this city here, which is this is the biggest city in New Brunswick. So we said, no, we don't have to live right in Miramichi. It's too small anyway. Let's live in Moncton. But yeah. Oh, Sackville. Okay. I know I've been there many times. Well, not many times because it's a long time. It's been a while since I've been there. Okay. Either the state or the dealership sold my phone. No way. Oh my God. I didn't know they could even do that. I asked a company that looked like a legitimate company to build me a logo for, I forget. I don't know what channel it was. A new channel I was working on. I wanted a new logo. And I got to take that away. And as soon as I started getting logo, I said, no, thanks. I just said, listen, I want to have an app. It's an app, not a logo. I said, I want an app like Ultimate Classic Rock. How much is it going to cost for an app like that? I want an app just like theirs. Oh, well, let's go through the process. I said, no, just go through their app. Just tell me how much that would cost. I want something similar to theirs. I don't want to copy, but I want it to do kind of what they do. And then they kept stalling, and I realized, oh, man, oh, no. And then after that, I started getting junk mail and spam calls, and it was awful. Okay, thank you, everyone, for your feedback. Mauricio, I love that name. Misunderstanding, 1980. Alfred, I get 5 to 10 per week. Really? Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that. Marianne says, hi, Rick. I get at least 8 spam calls a day. This is. So anyway, I'm gonna say just off these are my 2 favorite Genesis albums. Really, don't make excuses about it. Love these 2 albums. The first Genesis album, and you guys will be surprised by this, I ever got was this. And then I quickly went out and bought this. It's Facts with John Bowden. And then I went out and bought these 2 right after that. And then I started going back. I bought from Genesis to Revelations. I bought that, and I remember going, well, that doesn't sound like the band. It's kind of like the Moody Blues with the Denny Lane era. There's always bands that, Deep Purple did that, where they were trying to find their sound. And then they finally found their sound, right? Yeah. Oh, cried a voice in the crowd. Yeah. Nice little Genesis thing there. Selling England by the pound. Yeah. I was just listening to that a few days ago. And so with this news, I kind of remembered where I was when I first heard this album, not knowing that much about the band in '78. And then, of course, people were saying, well, you know, there's a Peter Gabriel. I said, oh, that's that. Oh, yeah, Peter Gabriel. I was 18, '78. And I was like a ferocious animal trying to find all their music. But, you know, when you're 18, you're still in school. I missed grade 2, so I graduated when I was 19 because I was going into an English school and I was all French at the time. Now I can't even speak French. So I just went knee deep into it, as I'm sure you did. Tell me, what was the first Genesis album you guys ever bought? I'm just kind of Spot the Pigeon. Yeah, I like Spot the Pigeon. You know, as an EP we got in North America. What was your first Genesis album? And then there were 3. I don't know how to say your username. I'm sorry. Oh, God. That's kind of a weird comment. Okay. I now digress. Okay, Duke. Oh, Chris says Duke. Yeah, 1980. Oh, Pressy says we had a do not call list. Okay. Trick of the Tail from Dean. Michael says, my first Genesis album was Abacab on cassette. Oh, yeah. A lot of people had cassettes back then, eh? If not you, then who? Saw this tour twice. See Peter Gabriel many times. Saw Peter Gabriel many times. Made me think Mike and Tony should do an instrumental live, maybe with Steve. I don't think they ever will do that. I don't think I think they might find that dishonorable towards Phil. The Music Critic. I'm pretty sure that I bought either And Then There Were 3, Duke, or Abacab first. A little fuzzy there, but that is the same era, similar era, close era at least. Jorge 1. Saw them on Midnight Special with Peter. And then bought Selling England by the Pound. Oh, you started, KJ started with Seconds Out, one of the best live albums. Man, that's a good live album. Ah. And Pure Mustard says, 100% Pure Mustard. That's a great username. That's a great username. Genesis Live 1973. Yeah. It's the one with Peter Gabriel on the side like that in the cover. Rockchild. I'm not going to talk about the phone calls. The self-titled Genesis album, yeah, 83. Rockchild says, okay, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. No Regret Coyote. First concert I ever saw was A Lamb Lies Down Broadway. Wow, 75. That wouldn't be 75. Oh, no, yeah, it was, 75 because Lamb Lies Down was 74. Right, okay. I was thinking Selling England by the Pound. Ronnie MC says, And Then There Were 3 was the first, then Trick of the Tail, Tony Walker. Genesis had some quality B-sides. They really did, yeah. Aquascenes, Genesis on cassette. It was before the internet. It's sure, you know what? I remember we used to go in a record store, and because we didn't have the internet, we just had music magazines, and they'd tell you when albums were going to be released. Rolling Stone would, Billboard would. Billboard wasn't always sold in stores, rarely in stores where I was from. And we'd sometimes know when an album was released, but the fun in the 70s and early 80s of going into a record store, all of the 80s, is not knowing what you're going to find. You'd look at the new releases going, okay, my bands, you know? And you'd always be excited that at least be something there. If you went once a week, you at least find one album you wanted to buy. And I love that. Didn't always have the album in the 70s, but there you go. Dean says, saw the tours from 81, 83, 86, 92, and 2007. Cool. Rockchild. You were done, but I wasn't. Yeah, that we moved on. Sorry. Sherry C. Seconds Out was awesome. Oh, what a great live album. Really, really good. DJH says, self-titled album was my first, but I was 9 when it came out. Oh, cool. Rockchild. Life before the internet. But that's the thing, right? You want to get into walking into a record store and the excitement of walking into a record store and not knowing what you were going to see there. I can't say that enough. I mean, walking in and going straight to new releases. In one record store downtown in a mall in Edmonton, it was straight back. We'd go there. I think it was Sam the Record Man. I'm not sure what it was, but we'd go back and there it was. I remember seeing Hydra one day. I remember walking into a drugstore and seeing Rock of the Westies, thinking Elton John's just released Captain Fantastic in the early part of the year. Rock of the Westies was released in the latter part of 75. I'm going, another one? And it sounded incredibly different because he had a slightly different band. And things like that of walking into a place and just being like, it's a moment in time going, when I saw Toto Hydra, I remember that moment. I remember looking up and there was the album. It was right there. I was a little disappointed with the album. It, to me, was like a sort of a typical sophomore album in some ways. It had great touches of the first album. But yeah, we didn't know when albums were released, so it was always a big surprise walking into that store and never really knowing. Unless you had word of mouth, because people would say, hey, I remember when, Breakfast in America came out. There was a lot of buzz about it, and all the school was talking about in 79, Breakfast in America. I didn't buy it right away. I didn't have the money. I was getting ready to graduate. Is there a bad Genesis album? I'd say from Genesis to, the first one. Yeah, I didn't like that one. I wouldn't say it's bad, though. I don't know. I think you look larvely. Great channel, thank you. Ray Wilson gets a bad rap. Yeah, he does. And he was only on one album, right? Calling All Stations. Michael says, love going to Record Bar in the early 80s. It was just the most fabulous thing, which we'll never, ever get back because the information is instant now. I almost went on this morning to talk about the last Genesis show, and I went, I'll let it breathe a little bit. I'll just carry on my day. My brother was visiting from my hometown and with my mom and his wife. And I just thought, no, I'll come on in the evening. I like coming on in the evening and talking about this kind of stuff with you. There's a new system we have called Ecamm. A lot of you might know Ecamm Live. With Ecamm, you can have a guest come on and basically talk about stuff. So I'm looking at some trusted viewers on this channel who, when I'm live, and I'll know you from your username, and so that you don't come on and start swearing or something, because you never know who you're letting on. But we'll have the capacity to basically send you an invite, and if you want to join us live, you'll be able to. Serge from Leonid and Friends, who we talked to from Kyiv, Ukraine a few days ago, we're trying to get him on live so you can ask him questions coming up this week. But we're trying to figure out the software. And Ecamm is complicated, but once you get it going, it's good. When we were talking to all the people on Friday Night Live, when we first started that, Henry Gross and Steve Porcaro, and we had so many, Marcus Elliott, we had so many great musicians on there, and putting them on was okay, but it was kind of difficult. You kind of have to have like a mouse. Oh my God. Key scenes. Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I so appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. We don't get a lot of donations on this channel. It's probably just the way the channel is. But when we do, we really appreciate it. We never ask for it, but thank you very much. And again, more advertising money for our channel. So cool. Thank you very much. Chased a rock child of the 60s says, in Texas, we had an awesome record store called Texas Tapes and Records. Oh, wow. The greatest place to buy albums. See, you never forget that. It's key scenes. Yeah, key scenes. Sorry. I keep forgetting that's how you say that. AIV, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway was my first Genesis album. It was a spacey album to start your collection with. Wow. Michael Say, CA, D stood up for rock and roll against, he did. D. Snyder, yeah, I know, I saw that. Mauricio, man, I love that name. Hello from Colombia. Sorry about Hawkins, yeah. Genesis with Collins and Bruford was the best. I talked to Bill Bruford about that. It's on this channel, by the way. He said that Phil was a great imitator. So he didn't really talk about Phil's drumming. And I found that interesting. I'm going, what's going on here? But that's what he said. So, and he was in a good mood, but it's one of the few interviews where I was nervous. I got a little self-conscious during the interview. Not that from anything he said. I mean, it's a great Bill Bruford. And I'm a big Yes fan. I'm a much bigger Genesis fan than I am a Yes fan. I know much more about Genesis than I do about, Saw Genesis in 78. Oh, you saw that. And then you saw this tour. Ta-da! That was the 78 tour. This was the 1980 tour. Ta-da! I don't know why I'm doing that. It's kind of irritating. So there you go. Bruno says, it's a shame. What's CAS? I'm terrible with cap. No, you can't use, you have to spell it out. You can't do that to me. When I first saw Goodbye Elbrick Road with letters, I remember going, what the heck's this? What's that even mean? My brain's not wired that way. I can't, I can't do it, man. Calling All Stations was your first? Was that your first, Bruno? Wonder what happened to Chester. Well, Chester is kind of retired, but then I had asked Caleb Quay about Chester. Caleb Quay was the guitarist for Elton John in the beginning, came back in 75 and 76 for Rock the Westies and Blue Moves. And Caleb credits Chester to help him get into like a cleaner life. And I said, well, I wanted to talk to Chester, but he's retired. And he said, no, he's not. He's doing jazz stuff. I'm going, yeah, pretty sure he's retired. But then I read, someone sent me quotes from an article that I never get a chance to read that Chester had some bad blood with Phil. Now, I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's not. Because no one sent me a link. And I got, what do you say? Bill Bruford makes Tony Banks look chill. Key scenes. Rockchild of the 60s. I got to hold this up here because you won't see my face. John, do you rate Collins as a drummer? How do you rate Collins? I think I wouldn't. If he's two for you, he's two for you. For me, he's in the top 10 because he influenced me more, and because I was such a big Phil Collins solo fan. Something Happened on the Way to Heaven. Is that the name of it? That's one of my favorite. I haven't heard it in so long. That's one of my favorite Phil Collins songs. And I told Daryl Sturmer that. I said, man, there's the beginning of that song, dun, dun, it's so big. So I love that. That song just touched me like crazy. So don't be shy. There's 121 people on here hanging out with us. And thank you for spending some time with us. I appreciate that. I just sounded like my radio show there. I always go on my radio show as Move 103.5. I'm John Bowden. Thanks for spending some time with us. Make sure you text us. I just sound like my radio show there. What? That's crazy. That's a weird one. I love doing my radio show. 5 nights a week at Move 103 in Vancouver. And I have been there since 1990. 1990. That's crazy. I'm just lucky. FD, good morning from Oz. Hey, good morning. When I interviewed Graham Goebel, Glenn Shorrock, B. Birtles lives in Texas or Nashville. I think he lives in Nashville. But Glenn Shorrock of LRB, the lead singer, and Graham Goebel, I interviewed them at night because it was morning there. So there you go. All Gardner says, I wish I had done Dodo Lurker. Think you look larvely. What do you hate about? It's nothing that I hate. I don't like it. People always ask me, well, how can you hate that song? I don't know. I don't like it. You can't help but you either like something or you don't. So I don't want to over-explain the fact that I don't like that song. I just don't like it. If it comes on the radio, I'll change the channel. I just don't like it. You can't like everything. I'm trying to think if there's an Elton John. There's a few Elton John songs that do that to me. And as you know, Elton John's my... I'm not sure if he still is, but overall in my life, he's been my favorite artist. a few songs on Leather Jackets I don't like. There's been a few songs through the years that I go, don't like that. Anyway, thanks for the folks who gave us super chats today, donations. I appreciate that. It goes to, advertising to the channel. It's only 8:18 here? What the heck? Hey, aren't you guys watching the Oscars, or even are they on? That's the biggest radio rule is never remind someone they should be somewhere else. So I'm breaking the ultimate radio rule here. I don't really watch the Oscars. Phil is a great drummer, I agree. Rockchild. Ben says, good day from Canada. Ben, where are you in Canada? I'm in Moncton, New Brunswick. The majority of people who watch my channel are Americans. And then after that, it's not Canadians, even though I'm a Canadian. After that, it's probably the UK. We have a lot of people down under in Australia. And then maybe Canada will come in after that. So there you go. So Ben, where are you from? Bruno says, Calling All Stations was the first one I bought, but already knew the previous ones from you'd have to be through osmosis. You'd hear it in the background no matter what, right? Or Friends. KJ, Phil has admitted he put on different hats depending on the track. It would be like John Bonham, Keith Moon, Buddy Rich, Ringo Starr, depending upon what was required. Yeah. Mike says, but he thinks Phil was going through a tough time and only that Phil glared at him and chewed him out for messing up a beat. I don't know the context of that. Ivan says, thank you, John. Pressy, I'm so happy that Miley Cyrus is finally able to be herself. What? Joe, Phil Collins has no voice. Spacey, this is better than the Oscar. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay. Oh, Kitchener, right on. I have been to Kitchener. There was I don't know what the station was, and this is the 80s, so the station name would have changed for sure. Stations don't keep their name. There was I forget what radio station in Kitchener in the 80s used to air my show called, show I syndicated across the country called the Cross Canada Report. But we were heard in Kitchener. We were heard in every mid-market in the country, pretty much. Not mid-market, but a lot of them. In every major market except Toronto. Elton John was my first favorite artist. Hey, Dean, right on. Ken5244, listening to the leaf blower being dragged down the chalkboard would be preferable to hearing Mama again. Just saying. Well, thank you. See, if you don't like it, you don't like it. I find it interesting. I don't know why people say, well, why don't you like it? I'm going, I don't know. I just don't like it. Hello from Portugal, Bruno. Hello, Pressy. Angeline on Leather Jackets by Elton John is my theme song. Oh, cool. Fraser J. Hey, Fraser J. Maybe you can start your own Genesis tribute band. I'm not, my drumming's not up to, Chase could do it. Chase knows several Genesis songs and has them down pat. Sherry, LOL. If you don't like it, you just don't like it. Yeah. Yeah, you change the channel when Michael Jackson comes on. I change the channel when a lot of artists come on. There's a lot of art, like Sugarland, All I Want to Be or All I Want to Do or whatever the hell that song is called. I hate that song. Oh my God, I hate that song. Of all the songs in the world, I probably hate that song. It's probably one of my top 3 hated songs. Now, Mama isn't even in that category. I say I don't like Mama. I wouldn't, it's not in the top 10 of songs I hate. So there you. Okay, I'm just joking. Just wonder if Phil Collins do a greatest hits, all the songs he did with Genesis 2. By the way, let's just go through that. I know that's not what you necessarily meant, but this is what happened last night. Hold on, let me find it. Here. So the final show for Genesis, I'll just put this up here. They started with the 2 songs from Duke, Behind the Lines and Turn It On Again. Then they went into a song from the 1983 album, Genesis, self-titled. They went into Mama, the song I don't like. Then from Invisible Touch, where they had like spitting image video of the puppets, Land of Confusion. Home by the Sea from the self-titled Genesis album from 83. Second Home by the Sea from the same album. I'm getting tired, sorry. Fading Lights from We Can't Dance. The Cinema Show from Selling England by the Pound, arguably the best album with Peter Gabriel. 1973, like I said. Afterglow, the last song from Wind and Wuthering. After that, where's Wind and Wuthering? I gotta stop doing that. That's All from then he went acoustic with That's All from 1983. Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. They did 2 from that album, the last one with Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel was at the show, did not go on stage because I think he didn't want it to be about him. Follow You, Follow Me from, and then there were 3. That's the only one they did from that album. That's the first album when Steve Hackett left, after Steve Hackett left. Duchess, the second, another tune from Duke. It was his second song on the album. No Son of Mine from We Can't Dance. They did First the Fifth from Selling England by the Pound, that Peter Gabriel Genesis album. I Know What I Like from Selling England by the Pound. They either went into a little snippet of an older song, Stagnation. Domino from Invisible Touch. Then they did Throwing It All Away from 86, Invisible Touch. Tonight, Tonight, Tonight from Invisible Touch. And then the title song to that album. Then they came back for an encore. Interestingly, they played 2 Gabriel era songs for their encore. They started with a Phil Collins song, I Can't Dance, from We Can't Dance, from 91. And then Dancing with the Moonlit Night, it's actually the first tune from Selling England by the Pound. And Carpet Crawlers from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, the last Peter Gabriel album. So, and they knew he was in the audience, and there's, let me show you again. I'm going to sign off here pretty soon because we've been on here for, oh God, 86 minutes? What the heck? You guys are really nice to hang out with me. Let me find my photos. There's a picture. It was all, oh, sorry about the lights. There it is. There you go. From last night. Here it is. Phil and Peter Gabriel from last night. And then Lily Collins. She was just talking about the monumental night. There was a lot of VIPs there, rightly so. Ending in London, which is appropriate. A few people have asked, why didn't Peter Gabriel and Steve Hackett join them? I think because it wasn't about them. This is the retirement, the goodbye, the farewell for Mike Rutherford, Tony Banks, and Phil Collins. So Phil's in rough shape. I hope he's not, like some people are speculating and starting rumors that he's not long for this earth. There's no way they could possibly know that. So don't spread that kind of stuff. I'll say it's out there, but yeah, no one knows that. Yeah, Rockchild says Phil looks rough. Oh no, we didn't go. No, we even though we're on the right side of the Atlantic to go. No, we're not I mean, the only person I got to know from Genesis, the Genesis family, was Daryl Sturmer in the early 2000s. We used to communicate quite a bit. And Michaela, I hope he's still married to her. Michaela, I think I've told you guys before, once his wife called me on the air one night. I was doing the afternoon drive show back then and said, "Hey, John, it's Michaela Sturmer. I heard you have an autistic daughter. I have a friend who has an autistic. She does a lot of research." And I talked to her for a little while. And then he was touring with Phil, solo stuff, and his Daryl Sturmer's publicist phoned me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to Phil Collins' show tonight? I got tickets, and Daryl wants you to meet Phil." And I went, "Well, that's great, but I'm in Calgary. Not here now, but then I was in Calgary." I says, "I physically don't have time to get on a plane, and I wouldn't get there in time." So she just didn't know her geography, or she thought I was in Toronto. I mean, she was a really nice lady. And that was really nice. I thank Daryl for inviting me, and she might have called me too late. I don't know what it is, but I would have gone. Because Phil was in pretty good shape back then. To meet Phil Collins? Yeah. And even Daryl, I never met him in person. I just interviewed him, I think 6 times, 5 times. I don't know, a lot of times. And I'll have to put those interviews up. And it's timely to put those interviews up right now because of what's going on. I've interviewed Steve Hackett 6 times, who was in the band right up until, he left just before, he wasn't on, and then there were 3. David Henschel I've interviewed. Anthony Phillips, who was their original guitarist I've interviewed. And I remember I went on last night and I went, oh, why didn't I mention that person's name? I always have mental gaps in my memory of. So there you go. Mark, how you doing? John, I always look forward to our chats. How you doing, man? Rockchild says, I have pictures like you might have pulled a Phil and took the Concorde. Yeah, no, they're, yeah, I don't think the Concorde even, oh yeah, the Concorde was still around then. Yeah. Let's see. Ivan says, Phil has his own distinct voice. Very true. On the drums, you always knew it was him. So true. With Phil, you could tell it was him. When he was drumming with Clapton, I remember going, that's Phil Collins. I can tell. I once told, and anyone who knows Bruce Hornsby will know this is something Bruce Hornsby did not want to hear. But I don't know why I told him this. I said, I Can't Make You Love Me, or End of the Innocence. I could tell that was you right away, because he plays piano with the Bonnie Raitt song, and he co-wrote and is playing the piano on the Don Henley song, End of the Innocence. I said, I could tell that was you right away. And then there was another song I mentioned. I don't know what it was. And he says, well, I don't like that. And he wasn't being snitty. Bruce is always respectful. But he says, I kind of strive not to want people to recognize and to get into a certain style. And if anyone follows Bruce Hornsby, you'll know, and he has a new album coming out, I think in May. It's part of the trilogy of the very different albums that he's doing. It's the last one. And he said, on one album, he didn't play piano. And another album was a hammered dulcimer album. Like that, he's just out there. He wants every album to have its own feel. So, but I told him, I said, I can always tell when it's you, and I don't think he liked that. And knowing what I know now, I know why. Of course, he doesn't like that. He doesn't want to be recognized like Phil does, and Phil, I think, probably loved that. But anyway, I digress. Damn it! What? Okay. Ben says, saw Genesis twice in the late 70s and early 80s. Fantastic shows at the CNE, in Toronto. David says, I thought this was a money grab till I actually saw the show in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I forgot they came to the U.S. Duh. Frank, not an embarrassment as much as a disappointment. Music critic. I think everyone here can say that Phil Collins is a hero to everyone. Well, no, not to everyone. He's a hero to a lot of people. Not only a progressive rock world, but the pop music world as well. But he's a hero to a lot of people. No one's ever going to be a hero to everybody. It just doesn't work that way. Music critic. However, since he began performing again, he has just been disappointing his fans, and I feel like his music world, like the music world, would be a better place if he just had retired. I have to disagree with that because I think a lot of people, I'm getting here more comments from people saying, and I say this all the time, if people are willing to go pay for concerts and they're selling out all the concerts, then let them do it. I said before, I don't think I'd want to see Phil in that condition. I haven't watched a lot of videos. I've listened to a lot more than watched. But then my wife told me, I said this yesterday, my wife said, if they were coming here, you'd go. You'd find a way to go. And she was right. I would find a way to go. So, because I don't have that kind of money to do that kind of stuff. I mean, this video channel some months does really well. Most months does okay. And now and then there's months where we don't do well. I mean, we have enough to pay the rent and stuff. And obviously that's okay. But that's the love of YouTube. You know what I mean? Yeah, Sherry. Yeah, Bruce Hornsby doesn't play the same song the same way twice anymore. He just doesn't. It's always a little different. He's always putting up his hand, like to motion the band when they're winding it up or we're playing it again. He'll go, Bruce Hornsby. What's the song? I forget the song because Chase played a few of them. Bruce Hornsby sent my son this, like in Microsoft Word, about this big. Just as an example. It was not Microsoft Word, it was an email. And he told my son the way that he was playing, the musicianship, the way he was playing the song. What was the song? God, he did so many Bruce Hornsby songs back then. John Mollo was the drummer on it, his original drummer. And but anyway, he wrote the most amazing letter to my son Chase. I cried. I went, oh my God, Bruce Hornsby wrote that to my son? One of a musician I respect more than most. And I'm hoping to get another interview. But anyway, I got to wind things up here. I've been on here for 75 minutes. What the heck? But thank you for indulging me. As always, thank you for liking the video. Please like the video. I appreciate that. I have got, a few more. Yes, Stephen, we were mentioning it a few times. You probably came in late. Peter Gabriel was there. There's a picture that they took together. I showed it both 3 or 4 times during the video. Uncle Elmer, Phil was cranky in several of the clips I seen. Oh, is that right? Noah says, I saw the Domino tour in Cleveland. Ben says, my favorite Genesis album, my favorite, with Peter Gabriel, Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I love the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Cuckoo, Cocoon. I love that song. I think you look larvely. Great channel. Glad I caught this. Thank you. Please subscribe. We whenever something breaks. Oh, Gardner. Thank you. Delighted you're covering the show on a sheer human scale. What those friends did rose to a truly powerful level. No kidding, eh? Yay, well said. So many shows on this tour performed beautifully. As a commentary on life, one can't do better. Thank you. Gardner Goldsmith, thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. Thank you for your super chat. Let's end it with that. Great last words. I'm glad they did it. I didn't want to see Phil in that condition, but I will say, and I watch all the comments, more people were happy they did it than weren't. That they, and most of those people will never get a chance to see them. I mean, the last song they will ever play, it seems, was the Carpet Crawlers from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, which is on some level kind of cool because it was the last Peter Gabriel album. The song they did before that, these are 3 encore songs, was the Dancing with the Moonlit Night from Selling England by the Pound, which is, of course, a Peter Gabriel album. And then I Can't Dance was the first song on the encore from We Can't Dance. So thank you for all the folks who tuned in tonight. And again, for your donations, we appreciate that. We don't always make the money we want to make on this channel. It doesn't always work that way. In a perfect world, it would be that way, but it's YouTube and it's unpredictable. So when you give us a donation, it's appreciated. So and you can always donate anytime. Go on to any video. And if you ever want to donate money, any video, there's a button where you can donate. So, and appreciate that. Please take care of yourself. It's Oscar night. You chose to spend a little time with me. Adios. Thank you. Sherry C. Spacey. Adios. That's all. Good one. Good Genesis quote. Rockchild. Music critic thinks we were okay. Take good care of yourselves, guys. Okay, really. Take really good care of yourself. Stay safe, and we'll talk when music breaks. And yeah. Take care of yourself. Pressing the button, it won't come off. It wants me to stay on.